day to the panel. I am Sule Aminu and very much delighted to be part of this process leading to the takeoff of the Business Resilience for Value Added Enterprises, otherwise coined as the Brave Women Nigeria project. In response to the technical assessment exercise case study sent to me via email following my shortlisting for the Finance and Accounting Officer role, I therefore make the following presentation. The Project Accounting Manual is an integral part of the Project Financial Management Manual. Of course, the document is to be developed by the Finance and Accounting Officer and needs to be approved by the Project Steering Committee before it becomes effective. It is also important to note that these documents will need to be reviewed and updated on a yearly basis. In developing the Project Accounting Manual, there are certain essential factors that must be taken into consideration. In this context, the Women Entrepreneurship Finance Initiative Financing Agreement is key. The accounting basis and standard to be adopted for the project is also key. And of course, the features and user manual of the accounting software to be procured for the project must also be taken into consideration. Now, the minimum subtopics to be addressed in developing a project financial accounting are: 1. Used accounting standards. In other words, this could be either International Public Sector Accounting Standards or International Financial Reporting Standards, and the accounting base could either be cash or accrual, and the choice of any of these will depend on the policy stipulated in the project implementation plan. 2. You have chart of accounts. 3. Budgeting and budgetary control. 4. Recording and processing of transactions. 5. You have petty cash management. 6. You have bank account reconciliation. 7. You have withdrawal of funds. 8. You have financial reporting. 9. You have the asset register. And then 10, of course, it has to do with the length of period on which you want to keep the accounting records. This also must be well defined. And then 11 has to do with the level of access, the kind of safeguarding the security of the system. And then 12 has to do with the revision of the project accounting manual. Having said this, it is important to note that the significance of these subtopics cannot be overemphasized. This is in view of the fact that the majority of project activities results in the receipts, commitments, or expenditure of funds. Of course, it therefore means that these subtopics would serve as a mechanism or a guide to ensuring the smooth running of the accounting system, which of course in turn record, processes, and analyze data that are used in producing useful information in the form of annual workable plans and budgets, financial reports, financial statements, etc., that are required by the financiers of the project and other critical stakeholders. Moving on to the task number 2, which has to do with how, as the Finance and Accounting Officer, will ensure that the reports requirements are met within the timeline stipulated, bearing in mind the fact that the project will be implemented in 3 different states. Now, in addressing this, it is important to note that a well-defined, a well-run finance department will produce reliable finance and financial reporting that meets principal characteristics of financial reports. Of course, these characteristics has to do with understandability, reliability, relevancy, and comparability. These enable management and other interested parties to assess project performance against planned objectives. As a finance and accounting officer, I would also need to ensure that the financial systems are properly maintained to aid in improving controls in order to safeguard assets, thereby reducing the likelihood of errors, loss, misuse of funds, and fraud. Now, in ensuring that the financial reports are required for this project are prepared timely based on well-defined timelines, taking into consideration the fact that the project will be implemented in 3 different states. I would like to share a few insights in this regard. One, I will provide, in other words, adequate orientation will be provided to the finance team and the project staff. And of course, I should also be able to communicate the shared vision to all members of the team, especially the finance team, with regards to expectations in terms of reporting requirements for the project and their timelines. I will also ensure adequate monitoring of the financial operations of the implementing states with clearly defined reporting timelines to the Office of the Finance and Accounting Officer. This will be done by creating a reasonable margin of safety in order to address all pertinent issues before final consolidation of all relevant reports at least 3 days before each deadline of the various reports. It will be a policy that advances are retired immediately or at most not later than 2 days after they are made. This is in order to avoid unretired advances when preparing aging analysis, which could be which could constitute a setback in meeting up with deadlines. Also, good relationship will be established with our bankers so that prompt demand can be made for bank statements at least 30th or 31st of each month, as the case may be, in order to ensure that bank account reconciliations, which is a critical component for our monthly financial reports, are prepared on time. And these are a few amongst many other approaches that could be deployed in ensuring that the financial reports are prepared on time, keeping in mind the timelines provided in the project implementation plan. On the assumption that we have specialized payment platforms within the implementing states with clearly defined authorization limits. However, where the payments are centralized at the headquarters, which of course in this case is Abuja, it therefore means that payments for all project activities are initiated and processed from the state or from the state levels, and relevant documents be scanned to the headquarters for consideration, review, and approval and payments. I believe that with these measures put in place and well monitored, we should be able to get all the reporting requirements, needs of the project within the timelines defined in the project implementation plan. Thank you.